Hi, everyone. Welcome to Our Disabled Future, a series where disabled voices lead the way. I'm your host, Nico, and it is a good day for disability inclusion. Each day, during Disability Pride Month and beyond, I'm amplifying real disabled stories, where we begin, where we want to go, and how the heck we're going to get there. Together, I hope. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Renee. Let's dive in. Hi, Renee. Thank you for joining me.
I'm excited to be here.
Fantastic. Tell us about yourself and about your disabled life.
My name is Renee. I work as an emergency manager in the federal government. It's a very exciting time to be doing that. I am an individual who has a physical disability that I got from working in the fire service, known as complex regional pain syndrome, or CRPS. And then I also have a well, I have a whole bunch of mental disabilities, and I am autistic.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that succinct summary. It sounds like you come at disability from a variety of ways, autism, mental illness, and CRPS as well, which makes me interested to hear your take on this next question. What does a disability-friendly future look like for you?
Really, it's about being able to meet people where they are is the most vital thing in thinking about disability inclusion. Not everyone's going to be able to work the same as a neurotypical able bodied individual. Not everyone's going to be able to operate in the same ways creatively or um, logically as those people. Um, we're not all going to be able to really think about all of those types of items. So we really need to start thinking about how to create a way to meet people where their abilities are at and allow them to really operate at those abilities highest points so that we're really optimizing how people operate.
Optimize how people operate. You put that very well. Thank you. I think it's really easy to say that we need to meet disabled people where they're at and to help them realize their full potential, to use a HR buzzword. The deeper question, I guess, is how do we get there? How do we build that disability friendly future that you and I are talking about? What's our strategy? What do you think?
So I think some of it comes from flexible work schedules. In so much of today's world, we don't need to have a strict 9 to 5 work schedule. Um, you know, I work a 4-10 work schedule, so I work 10 hours a day, 4 days a week, and that allows me a day where I don't have to drive a lot. Um, I get to go to my doctor's appointments, which are very frequent, and not have to take time off of work. Um, and that really kind of gives me that flexibility. Um, in other cases, like my spouse, um, who who's also autistic, but also ADHD, um, they really operate later in the day very well. So when they're given the flexibility to work like a 10 to 6 schedule, it's great. Um, so that's a really easy to begin with piece. Another good place to start with is how are we hiring? Is every interview a panel interview? And are we given ways to kind of work around issues in the panel interview? Like, are we given all the panelists the questions ahead of time? Um, Are we giving people the way to really talk about themselves in a way that isn't just structured in interview questions? Um, are we going out and hiring people from these non-traditional backgrounds of disability to places where they probably thrive, but we have these very strong biases in our society that they're not going to work. And this goes for things like low vision, deaf and hard of hearing, um, physical disabilities where you're using a wheelchair or some other mobility device. And workplaces think you're a liability or they don't want to take on adaptation strategies to make the workplace more accommodating for you. How can we really make it so that that barrier to entry is lower for workplaces willing to take on, I don't want to say take on that burden, but if a city like Philadelphia or New York where it's much older buildings, how are they, how can we get it so that maybe some of the cost is through a grant or a cost share program so that the building is future proof as well?
Thank you so much. I pulled the face when you mentioned making buildings here in Philadelphia accessible. That is kind of a everyday fight we have here in Philadelphia. So,
It really is.
yeah, wow. I could talk for hours about it. But anyway, as we close our time together today, Renee, I want to give you a chance that you and I, as disabled people, rarely get. That is a chance to brag about yourself, promote something cool you've done recently, or maybe something cool you're still working on. If you want to grow your online presence, where can we find you online? This is just blank space for you to be your own cheerleader. Let's hear it.
So, with the federal space being what it's been, I have recently created a space for emergency managers like myself who work in disaster services, whether that's the nonprofit world, private sector, city, county, federal, whatever, to come together and actually talk about their job exploits, looking resumes, do panel practice interviews all together on a Discord server, so that we're not just sitting there and all talking in just LinkedIn um, uh, threads. So it's a little bit more dynamic of a group. It's been a really great way to meet a lot of people and to get some of the stress of the job hunt out, because a lot of what's going on at the federal level is cascading into our private sector partners and even some of our nonprofit world. As we're seeing budget crunches happen. So it's been a really near and dear project to mine. um, it hasn't been explicitly dedicated to anything disability, but it does allow people who are, you know, prone to depression or anxiety or have some of those social anxieties to go and practice and get some of those nerves out before an interview. It allows people to have a collaborative space or a space to de-stress about an interview. And I think it's been a really good way for people across the country to come together and really kind of get all these things out of the way. So if you want to have access to that, or you want to do something similar for your own existing job market, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to give you kind of the general template I had, and we can work out some ideas on LinkedIn. And you can find me at LinkedIn/Renee Hupp.
Fantastic, thank you. I'll put some of those video links in the description when I post this video. Thank you for your service to the government. Disability inclusion in disaster services is real hit or miss.
Yeah.
All right, team,
Yeah.
tune in next time. Remember, this is our disabled future, so we're building it one day at a time together. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I'm rooting for you, and I can't wait to see what you do next. Bye.